They say it takes 3 months to get over someone. 3 months to stop crying in the shower. 3 months to delete their photos without your finger shaking. 3 months to finally sleep on their side of the bed without feeling like you're trespassing on sacred ground. Well, I'm here to tell you that's a scam, a total fraud. For me, it wasn't 3 months. It was an eternity condensed into sleepless nights and days that felt like walking through wet cement. The breakup was a spectacle, a grand finale to a love story I thought was my forever. It ended not with a quiet fade to black, but with a bang, a betrayal that echoed in every empty corner of my house and my heart. The pain was, in a word, unbeatable. It was a physical ache, a heaviness in my chest that no amount of laughter on stage could lift. I would stand in front of thousands, making them roar with laughter, while inside I was a silent black and white film. The irony was thicker than my foundation. I was the queen of comedy, the purveyor of joy, yet my own happiness had packed its bags and left without so much as a goodbye note. It just vanished, leaving behind the ghost of promises and the lingering scent of his perfume on a pillow I refused to wash for weeks. It was pathetic, it was dramatic, and it was my reality. That breakup was the earthquake that shattered the very foundation of what I believed about love. I was a devout follower of the Church of Monogamy. One partner, one heart, one love story, happily ever after, cue the doves in the sunset. I preached it, I lived it, I defended it. I thought that was the only way. To give your entire world to one person, to make them your sun, your moon, and all your stars. But what happens when your sun decides to shine on someone else's galaxy? What happens when your universe collapses? You're left in the dark, cold and alone, with nothing but the debris of a shared life. So forget the 3-month rule. It's a myth created by people who probably never truly loved, or maybe they just have amnesia. The timeline for healing is personal, and mine was a long and winding road filled with potholes of despair and wrong turns into memory lane. I tried everything retail therapy that maxed out my cards, eating my feelings until my pants staged a protest, and binge-watching series until my eyes were as red as my broken heart. But no distraction was powerful enough to silence the question that kept screaming in my head. If this is what one true love feels like, then maybe, just maybe, the whole system is broken. My journey through heartbreak wasn't just a quick stay. I checked into the Heartbreak Hotel and they upgraded me to the presidential suite. It had a king-sized bed for one, a minibar stocked with tears and regret, and a 24/7 view of my own misery. Every song on the radio was suddenly about us. Every romantic movie felt like a personal attack. I became a detective of my own past, replaying every conversation, every fight, every laugh, looking for clues I might have missed. Where did it go wrong? Was it something I said, something I did, or was I just not enough? That last question was the real killer. The betrayal was the sharpest part of the pain. It's one thing to fall out of love. It's another to be replaced while you're still auditioning for the part you thought you already had. It's like being the lead star of a teleserie, and then halfway through the season, you find out they've written you out of the script and hired a new protagonist. The humiliation is public. The pain is private. I felt like a fool. I had paraded my love for everyone to see, convinced that this was it, the real deal. And then, poof, the magic trick was revealed, and I was the one left on stage with egg on my face. This emotional turmoil led me down a rabbit hole of questioning everything. Monogamy, the institution I had championed, suddenly looked like a very risky investment. You put all your emotional stocks into one company, and if that company goes bankrupt, you lose everything. You're left with nothing. I saw my friends go through the same cycle, find the one, post sweet photos, fight, break up, cry, and repeat. It was a carousel of pain disguised as a fairy tale. We were all chasing this singular, perfect love story that, more often than not, ended in a dumpster fire of emotions. I started to see monogamy not as a sacred bond, but as a pressure cooker. The expectation to be someone's everything, their best friend, their lover, their therapist, their financial advisor, their personal comedian, is immense. It's an impossible job description for one person to fill. And when they inevitably fail to meet one of those expectations, resentment builds. Cracks appear, the pressure becomes too much, and the whole thing explodes. My heartbreak wasn't just a personal failure, it was a system failure. And I was tired of playing a game with rules that seemed designed for us to lose. So I put monogamy on the autopsy table. I needed to dissect it, to understand its cause of death in my life. The first thing I found was the myth of completeness. We are sold this idea that we are incomplete halves searching for our other half. It sounds romantic, right? But it's also incredibly toxic. It implies that you are not whole on your own. It sets you up to be dependent on another person for your happiness and sense of self-worth. When that person leaves, they don't just take their love with them, they take a part of you. My breakup felt like an amputation because I had allowed someone to become a vital part of my being instead of just a wonderful addition to my already complete life. Then there were the red flags I had ignored, all in the name of making it work. The little jealousies that were disguised as caring too much. The controlling behavior that was framed as protecting me. The moments of emotional distance that I brushed off as him just being busy. In a monogamous framework, you are encouraged to tolerate so much because the alternative, breaking up and starting all over again, is terrifying. The fear of being alone keeps you chained to a relationship that is slowly poisoning you. You make excuses, you compromise your boundaries, and you shrink yourself to fit into the tiny box of someone else's expectations. The pressure to be the one and only creates an environment of possession and ownership. You are mine, people say. It sounds passionate, but it's really about control. This ownership leads to jealousy, a destructive emotion that thrives on insecurity and fear. I saw how it turned love into a constant state of surveillance, checking phones, questioning friendships with the opposite sex, demanding to know where you are at all times. This isn't love, it's a prison sentence. Love should be about freedom, not confinement. It should be about trusting someone enough to let them be their own person, not tethering them to your side so you can keep an eye on them. Ultimately, the autopsy revealed that monogamy, as it is practiced by many, is often a setup for failure. It demands perfection from imperfect beings. It asks one person to be an entire universe for another, which is an impossible and exhausting task. It fosters a culture of ownership, jealousy, and a fear of being alone that can make people stay in unhealthy situations for far too long. My heart wasn't just broken by a person, it was broken by a system of beliefs that I had followed blindly. It was time to write a new manual, one that didn't end in tragedy. Now, when I started talking about exploring other options, people immediately jumped to conclusions. The first word they threw at me was bigamy. They imagined me secretly marrying two people, living a double life like in the movies. Let's get this straight, MGA Day. Bigamy is the act of illegally marrying someone while still legally married to another. It's about deceit, lies, and breaking the law. It's messy, it's criminal, and it's definitely not my style. I've had enough drama, thank you very much. I'm not looking to star in my own crime procedural. What I was drawn to was polygamy, or more specifically polyamory, the practice of having multiple loving, intimate relationships with the full consent and knowledge of everyone involved. Notice the keywords? Consent and knowledge? This is the complete opposite of cheating. Cheating is a betrayal because it involves deception. Polyamory is built on a foundation of radical honesty. It's about communicating your feelings, your desires, and your boundaries with everyone you are connected to. It's not about having your cake and eating it too. It's about everyone agreeing to bake a bigger cake together with different flavors. The problem with the one-is-to-one love story is the expectation of exclusivity in every single aspect of life. We are expected to get all our emotional, intellectual, and physical needs met by a single individual. But what if you find someone who you connect with deeply on an intellectual level, but the physical chemistry isn't quite there? What if you have a partner who is your rock emotionally, but doesn't share your passion for art or travel? In monogamy, these gaps can become huge problems, sources of resentment. You start feeling like something is missing. Polyamory allows you to build a network of love and support. It acknowledges that one person cannot be your everything, and that's okay. It's about appreciating each person for the unique connection you share with them without forcing them to be something they're not. It's not about collecting people like Pokemon cards. It's about forming genuine, meaningful relationships that are structured in a way that works for everyone involved. It's a shift from you are my world to you are a beautiful and important part of my world, a world that can also include others. It's about abundance, not scarcity. Okay, so making the shift from a die-hard monogamist to a polyamory advocate wasn't like an overnight decision. It was this slow, deliberate process of, deconstruction and rebuilding. I had to unlearn decades of social conditioning, fairy tales and rom-coms that told me my happy ending was tied to finding one single prince. Honestly, it all started with reading. I just devoured books, articles, and blogs about ethical non-monogamy. And then I listened to podcasts where people shared their experiences, their joys, and yeah, their challenges too. I was educating myself, opening my mind to the idea that maybe there isn't just one right way to love. The first step? Oh man, that was the hardest, accepting that I was actually capable of loving more than one person at a time. For so long, I believed that if you had feelings for someone else, it meant you didn't truly love your partner. But, I realized that was a total lie. Love isn't some finite resource. Like, the love you feel for a friend doesn't take away from the love you feel for your family. The love you have for a second child doesn't erase the love you have for your first. So why should romantic love be any different? My heart wasn't a single occupancy vehicle, it was more like a party bus, with plenty of room for amazing people to come aboard. Of course, this new philosophy came with a whole new set of challenges. Communication, which is important in any relationship, becomes absolutely critical in polyamory. You really have to be willing to have those uncomfortable conversations about jealousy, time management, and sexual health. And you've got to be radically honest with yourself and your partners about what you want and what you can actually offer. It takes a level of emotional intelligence and self-awareness that, honestly, a lot of people in monogamous relationships don't even get to. It's definitely not a free-for-all. It's more like a carefully negotiated dance of desires, boundaries, and respect. And this journey was also about redefining my relationship with myself. I had to learn to be my own one. I had to become so whole and happy on my own that a partner or partners would just be a wonderful bonus, not a necessity. That was the true liberation. My happiness was no longer held hostage by someone else's affection or commitment. I was in charge. I was the one building my own happy ending, and I could invite whomever I wanted to be a part of it. Swiping right on polyamory was really about swiping right on my own freedom and self-worth. Oh, the unsolicited advice. As soon as I started to live my life on my own terms, the concerned friends and keyboard warriors came out of the woodwork. When I was still heartbroken, the question was, "Bakit hindi ka pa nakaka move on?" Why haven't you moved on yet? They wanted me to hurry up, to get back on the horse, to find a new one to replace the old one. Society is so uncomfortable with a woman being single and sad. They see it as a problem that needs to be fixed immediately. There's this immense pressure to bounce back, to show the world and your ex that you are fine, that you are better off. But then, when I did move on, but not in the way they expected, the judgment just changed its tune. Suddenly, it was, "Ang bilis mo naman makahanap ng iba." You found someone new so fast. Or worse, when they found out I wasn't looking for just one someone, the whispers started. She's confused. She's just hurt and acting out. She can't commit. People couldn't wrap their heads around it. In their black and white world, you were either pining for your ex or happily settled with a new monogamous partner. There was no room for a gray area, no space for a different kind of happiness. This societal pressure is a cage. It forces us into predictable narratives. The heartbroken woman must either win her ex back or find a better man to prove her worth. The idea that she might choose to reject the entire system and create her own rules is scandalous. It's threatening to the status quo. People judge what they don't understand, and they fear what they cannot control. My choice to explore polyamory was seen as a rebellion, a rejection of the traditional values that many people build their lives around. So, they judged me to validate their own choices. But here's the thing about me. I've built a career on being unapologetically myself. I've faced judgment for my sexuality, my appearance, my opinions. I've learned to use that judgment as fuel. Their whispers became my microphone, their criticism became my punchline. I realized that their opinions were a reflection of their own limitations, not mine. I was no longer performing for their approval. I was living for my own joy. And if my happiness made them uncomfortable, then that was their problem to solve, not mine. I was too busy building my empire of love to worry about the noise from the cheap seats. People hear open relationship or polygamy, and they imagine a chaotic, lawless world of non-stop parties and emotional wreckage. A free-for-all. But that couldn't be further from the truth. My polygamous life is not a chaotic playground. It's more like a well-designed one with clear rules and safety measures in place to make sure everyone can play without getting hurt. The most important rule is honesty. Radical, sometimes brutal honesty. There are no secrets. If I go on a date, my other partners know. If I develop feelings for someone new, we talk about it. It's like having all your browser tabs open for everyone to see. Another key rule is communication. We talk about everything, and I mean everything. We have regular check-ins to discuss our feelings, our boundaries, and any insecurities that might be popping up. Jealousy is a real emotion, and we don't pretend it doesn't exist. Instead of letting it fester in the dark, we bring it into the light. We ask, what is this jealousy telling us? What need is not being met? What fear is being triggered? It's a collaborative process of emotional support. It's about facing the green-eyed monster together, as a team, instead of letting it tear us apart. Time management also becomes an art form. You have to be intentional about how you divide your time and energy. It's not about treating people like appointments in a calendar, but about being present and engaged with whoever you are with. It has taught me to be more mindful and to value the quality of time over the quantity. A few hours of deep, uninterrupted connection can be more meaningful than a whole day spent together while distracted by phones and work. Each relationship is nurtured and given the space it needs to grow without the pressure of having to be everything all the time. And the freedom is the best part. It's the freedom from the pressure of being someone's one and only. It's the freedom to connect with different people who nourish different parts of my soul. It's the freedom from jealousy and possession. I don't own my partners, and they don't own me. I am overjoyed by their happiness, even if I'm not the source of it. Seeing a partner happy on a date with someone else is a feeling called compersion, the opposite of jealousy. It's a beautiful, expansive feeling. It's the ultimate expression of loving someone so much that you want them to experience all the joy the world has to offer. Let's be real, we are living in a completely different world now. The dating landscape has been completely transformed by technology. We live in the time of Wi-Fi, dating apps, and social media. We are constantly connected, constantly exposed to endless options. You can be talking to someone in your city while flirting with someone across the globe while stalking your ex's new partner's profile. The idea of focusing all your romantic and sexual energy on one person for the rest of your life feels increasingly vintage. It's like trying to use a dial-up modem in an age of fiber optic internet. The digital age has given us a mindset of abundance. We are used to having multiple tabs open on our computers, juggling multiple conversations in our chat apps, and scrolling through an infinite feed of content. This has, for better or for worse, influenced how we approach relationships. The temptation to see if the grass is greener is just a swipe away. For many, this creates a paradox of choice and a fear of missing out that makes it difficult to commit. Monogamy in this environment can feel like a constant battle against distraction and temptation. This is where I think ethical non-monogamy offers a more honest and realistic framework for love today. It acknowledges that attraction to others doesn't just switch off the moment you enter a relationship. It doesn't force you to pretend that you don't notice other attractive, interesting people. Instead, it provides a structure to navigate these feelings openly and honestly. It's like admitting that yes, you have multiple tabs open, but you're being transparent with your partners about what's on each screen. It's a system designed for the world we actually live in, not the world of our grandparents. This doesn't mean it's for everyone. For some, the simplicity and deep focus of a monogamous relationship is exactly what they need, and that is beautiful and valid. But for others, like me, who feel that their capacity to love is more expansive, trying to force it into a singular box is a recipe for disaster. It leads to cheating, lying, and heartbreak. Polyamory is not an excuse to be promiscuous. It's a commitment to a higher level of honesty and communication that the modern multi-tab world seems to demand. It's an upgrade to our emotional operating system. In the end, this entire journey, from the gut-wrenching heartbreak to the intellectual exploration of a new way of loving, has been about one thing: self-acceptance. It was about looking at my own heart, with all its messy, complicated, and expansive desires, and saying, this is me, and I am enough. I'm not broken because I can love more than one person. I'm not a failure because the traditional fairy tale didn't work for me. I am simply me. And my way of loving is just as valid as anyone else's. My message to anyone out there who feels like they don't fit into the neat little boxes society has created is this: stop trying to fit. Break the box. Build your own house. Write your own rules. Your happiness is not a committee decision. You don't need anyone's approval to live and love in a way that feels authentic to you. Whether you are monogamous, polyamorous, single, or something in between, the only thing that matters is that you are honest with yourself and respectful to others. Your love story is yours to write, so pick up the pen and make it a bestseller. I have found a sense of peace and joy that I never thought was possible. My relationships are built on trust, communication, and the freedom to be our whole selves. There is less pressure, less jealousy, and more room for growth. I have a support system of amazing people who love me for who I am, not for who they want me to be. My heart is full, not because I found the one, but because I found myself. I became my own source of love, and now I get to share it abundantly. So is polygamy the new era of love? Maybe not for everyone, but it is my new era. It's my truth, and I will not apologize for it. I will not hide it. I will own it. I will celebrate it, and I will continue to make people laugh while I do it. Because the most unkabuggable love of all is the love you have for yourself. And once you have that, no heartbreak, no judgment, and no rulebook can ever break you again. You become the author, the director, and the star of your own magnificent, unconventional, and beautiful love story. Now that's a happy ending.